Everyone, how are we doing today? So, quick question. How many of you are taking next week off? How many of you are making it what is that, a 9-day weekend? Anybody going anywhere fun? Going to see family? Who's getting on an airplane? Let me know. Just curious where everybody's going. I think we're staying pretty local. We will probably do a trip to Fresno next week, probably Tuesday to go check stuff out. But yeah, we're not going anywhere. Our big Thanksgiving plans are generally speaking a run to a sushi joint for dinner. So let me know what you guys are doing. Love to hear from you. Again, who's taking next week off? Getting 9 days to rest and recuperate, get ready for the end of the year. And if you're going somewhere, where are you going? All right, you driving, getting on a plane, all of that stuff. Leave comments below. Love to see what's going on in your lives this holiday season. So, as for financial news of the day, got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's always interesting how stuff just comes up for me to kind of read and pull together. I've been doing it 20 years, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised these days. First topic, first article that caught my attention today was quote unquote Wall Street, right? The big financial institutions now see 2020 providing just, that's their word, a 5% gain on stocks. I looked at that going, you know what? If you promise me 5%, between January 1 and December 31st, I just might take that. Um, 5% is more than I'm getting in, my money market account. Um, Finding a 5% deal in a very hot real estate market in my part of the cycle, it's kind of tough. Maybe I would, I think I would take actually 5%, if somebody committed to that. That certainly would be easier, right? So in the end, I always think it's interesting. They kind of talk about 5% being just, and that's because the last 10 years have provided, significantly more than that. But I think a 5% return, in 2020, an election year, is pretty good. Another article around the financials in 2020 that is interesting to me, most specifically because I am in the Bay Area, very tech heavy companies around me, is they're starting to see signs of a sector rotation. This is where, the big money, mutual funds, hedge funds, all of that kind of switch between growth and value. Think growth stocks like tech because they have high growth but really low profit because quote unquote they're reinvesting and things of that nature. We have seen and we've talked about on this channel a lot of tech stocks have been getting hit recently, both sort of new entries, the unicorns that we have seen, but also stocks that have been out a while. I think it was just yesterday we talked about Pure Storage, if memory serves, that came out, said the environment's hard, sales cycles are longer, discounts are more, and oh, by the way, we're lowering expectations. Cisco, I think it was 2 weeks ago, talked about lowering their fourth quarter like 5% or 3% or something. But yeah, I think tech has had its run. This is normal, nothing to be frightened about or anything. But where they're going is interesting. It's going to value, and the largest contributor to value stocks are financials. I think that's pretty interesting. We are in a very low interest rate environment, both as far as what we earn as savers, but also as what they lend as financial institutions. It's interesting to say that I guess they're just coming off of a bottom where they're going to find ways, either via fees or other ways, other loans, to kind of keep going. And if financial institutions are growing, I can't see a recession, right? We the consumers, we the businesses will be the borrowers. And if we're borrowing at a rate where financials or value stocks are growing, I just can't see a recession. So while it might hurt some of my friends and contacts in the valley because tech will be less valuable, they'll have less money to pay for property and cars and all that stuff. I think a rotation into financials will be good for the country, and I think if you take it to the next step, not only good for the country but good for the economy, because it will keep this low unemployment down. It will keep people buying homes and capital goods and things of that nature that have long lives. So could be a lot of fun. Next up, who has young kids and is going to see Frozen 2 this week? I remember Frozen 2, or Frozen 1, excuse me. I guess it would just be called Frozen. Anyways, I think it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago when it came out, and just smashed records. It is by memory serves the largest um, animated show by Disney, and Frozen 2 comes out this weekend. So I'm curious, anybody going out to see it? You're going to go see it as an adult? Maybe take your teenagers that saw the original 7 years ago who were, 7 or 8 years old. Maybe you as an adult make it a date night. I don't know. We might go see it. I haven't decided yet. Actually, truthfully, Olivia hasn't decided yet. Um, also goes to show that Disney's continuing a record year. They already have the record for most ticket sales in a calendar year of 2019. They've had 5 films over $1 billion. Disney's just crushing it this year. And again, it shows the consumers, right? The consumers are going to movies and tickets are expensive. And, what used to be a $20 weekend or event is now a $40 or $50 thing. So pretty interesting. Next up is Andrew Yang, gentleman running for the presidency. He caught my attention a couple of things, but one recently if elected, he has promised or committed or said he would create a Department of Attention, which I thought was interesting, right? I had to figure out what did he mean by Department of Attention. So basically, where he is building this department is on the grounds that our kids, the youth, if you will, frankly adults, are spending too much time in front of screens, and it's hurting their development. Andrew goes on to talk about when he was a kid, he was outside playing and socializing and doing all those things, and now sees the downside in too much social media, too much screen time, and he is going to, if elected, work with tech companies and implement regulations to address the negative effects of smartphones and social media. I think that's interesting. I guess I get the Department of Attention. Sounds like another bureaucracy, I guess would be the word. I think it is. I think it's an interesting idea because I don't think there's any question that things are changing. I just don't know how you do that, right? Sounds like more taxes and regulations and all that stuff, which I'm not a big fan of. So I don't know. It's interesting. What do you think? What do you think of the Department of Attention idea, right? Where basically the federal government comes in and, as he says, implements regulation on tech companies. What do you think about that? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. This is the first article I've read about it. I will definitely read more if he rises in the ranks. But that was interesting. Next up, looks like the stock market, November has been stuck in a pretty tight range, right? So the question by the market is, are we forming a top and we're going to roll over, or are we just resting as we get, into the end of the year? And I think all of that, I think this all relies on the trade war, right? I think the trade war comes together, takes big steps. We just take off again. As we said earlier, with the rollover to financials, I think 2020 is set up to be a really good year, and really the only things that can get in our way is ourselves. Unemployment's low, money's cheap. Generally, the spirits of the consumer are good, which is what we track, and it's fun to see. But if this trade war balloons into something that is more confrontational, either in trade or in money, right? The currencies, or heaven forbid, militarily, not good, right? That would be bad. I don't see any of that coming, but let's be real, right? We were supposed to sign phase 1 in October. It's now basically the end of November, and there's lots of chatter that this is now, new expectations are not until the end of, or the beginning of next year. So that's a lot of days for lots of people to say lots of stupid things and blow this up. So interesting. And then the last one that I wanted to close with is Zillow. Zillow is, their goal is to just simply change the home buying and selling experience, right? They rolled out Zillow Offers, which is just another flavor of iBuyers. They've set some pretty ridiculous goals of trying to buy 5,000 houses a quarter buying anywhere in the United States is their vision, right? Not just the big cities. But when you peel back what they're trying to do, I think it's interesting, right? They're not trying to be the biggest flippers. That's not what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is they're trying to change the home buying experience. And the analogy that I saw in one article, because I've read a few, is they kind of want to make it like a car where you could, in theory, almost have trade-in value, right? Instead of selling your house here and then going there, they could almost do all of that inside of a single transaction, which I thought was pretty cool. They are absolutely going to roll into mortgages, right? Because again, they are going to try to become the one-stop shop. So you go to Zillow offers, you buy, you sell, you get title insurance, you get a mortgage, and you're good to go. So they will make a little piece on all of that. And, where Zillow was mainly making their money via advertising, in a decade, if not sooner, maybe 5 years, they're going to be the largest buyer and seller of homes on the planet. I say that with pretty good certainty. The only thing that they'll have to challenge is this model obviously works and is easiest to do into a rising market. How would it work into a declining market? Frankly, that's a risk, but it's easy to turn off. You don't have to buy, right? There's no thing that you have to. You simply lower prices, right? So as long as they see it coming, they can adjust their model as long as they're not arrogant. Anytime people are involved in artificial intelligence and math, they can always hurt themselves by overpaying. But I don't see any kind of 2008, 9, 10 collapse, so I don't see them getting caught short. But it's interesting to see how Zillow is morphing from essentially an advertising and data collection company into what I believe will be the largest buyer and seller of homes on the planet in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's encouraging, right? I think that will change the game. It'll change the entire market. There will be lots of real estate investors who need to rethink what they're doing. But I think it'll be overall good for the economy. I think having an entity like that is known to be of high caliber, I think it will help the economy. And, we're all part of the big old economy. So that's what I'm seeing. So in the end, I am curious, who's taking the whole week off? Get 9 days to rest and relax, have fun. Are you traveling anywhere? Are you going to go see Frozen 2 this weekend? And lastly, tell me what you think about the Department of Attention. I'd love to hear from you. If you're still watching and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me know you're out there, and have a great day. Take care.